Chief Executive Officer of the New Jersey Nets, but you're also the CEO and President of Brooklyn Sports and Entertainment. Man in many hats. Give me an idea what your day is like.
Well, my day starts in New Jersey, where I'm very mindful of the Nets in the next 2 years and making sure that we create value for our key stakeholders while we're still in New Jersey. And then sometime at around noon, maybe a little later, I make my way through the tunnel and into New York. And I arrive here at the Barclays Center showroom where I truly get to sell a Bentley. And Brooklyn is a Bentley. It's an incredible story that I have the honor of telling every day, whether it's to suite holders or prospective sponsors. It's going extremely well. And then sometimes later in the day, I make my way over to Metrotech, which is in the heart of Brooklyn. And I spend some time with Bruce Ratner and his leadership team to discuss the overall project. So I'm in various places throughout the day. I enjoy it. Yes, I wear multiple hats, but it's what keeps me young.
Well, what also keeps you young is the experience building on your 6 years at NASCAR, and you've got the credential with other people, clearly, of that $750 million Nextel deal and more. So tell us about that as a kind of a building block and foundation for this.
Well, NASCAR was truly a great springboard for me. I spent 7 years there working for George Pine, who's now over at IMG, as well as the France family. It was a great 7 years. And following the Nextel announcement, I was able really to parlay that into an opportunity to come and work for Bruce Ratner. NASCAR is truly about brand building. It gave me the opportunity to work with some of the best brands in America. Many of those brands have followed me to New Jersey and are now going to follow me to Brooklyn. So it was an incredible experience for me. It opened my eyes to a lot of different things I didn't have exposure to as I was growing through my career and selling locally and regionally. And I'm not sure I'd be where I am today had I not had that experience.
All right, so you're obviously proud of this showroom, and you're proud of the Barclays Center, 18,000 seats, and on and on and on. Give us your elevator speech about that.
Well, as everyone knows, it's been a little bit delayed. I came to the Nets about 5.5 years ago. I thought it was about a 3-year stay in New Jersey. It ultimately will be 8. But I look at things really as half empty versus half full, and I think there's a silver lining in our delays. I think the building has truly been designed and programmed for the world we live in today, which is very different than the world we lived in 5 years ago. We've got about 100 suites, and that's been a little downsized from the original design. We've got numerous clubs and restaurants and lounges. Obviously, the premium experience is something that people here in New York are really looking for, and I think we're going to be able to deliver that in a big-time way. Jay-Z is one of our investors, has been a very big part of our design team in collaborating with us on various spaces throughout the building. I think the architectural statement we're making, starting from the exterior and moving in, is going to be very bold and very dramatic. And I think fans, not only throughout the region, but throughout the country, as well as internationally, are going to come to the Barclays Center because we're going to give them a reason to come there.
Ownership. Biggest change in the years since Mikhail Prokhorov took over?
Culture.
How?
The culture has been redefined. Michael Prokhorov accepts nothing but the best from his people. He wants to win. He's got the resources to win. He brings a global presence to the organization. There's a little swagger in everyone's step right now. We were a beaten down franchise, to be honest. We had a 12-70 season last year, as it's well documented. People don't even talk about it anymore. We've been able to totally go through a very quick refresh and rebrand under Prokhorov's direction. We are looking forward to a great season in Newark. We have had the most successful sales season, selling season tickets in the history of this franchise. And much of that has come because of the enthusiasm people are showing Prokhorov, his management team, and the direction of this franchise.
Let's talk about on the floor. You didn't get LeBron, you didn't get Amar'e Stoudemire. How do you feel about the offseason, though?
I think the offseason has been very successful for us. I mean, we went into the offseason wanting to do a couple of things. We wanted to start fresh and new. We came out with our campaign, It's All New, and it truly is all new when you think of Nets basketball today. We have reconfigured our team. I think we've, through the help of Rod Thorne, who's no longer with us, and now Billy King, we've been able to assemble some great young talent, which is very exciting. Recently, Troy Murphy, a Jersey-born kid, and went to high school at Del Barton, so that brings a little cachet to the franchise. But I think this team is going to be very competitive this year, and we've got the building blocks for the future. We've got cap space, and in addition to that, obviously we have draft picks. So I think the future is very bright on the court as it is off the court.
And speaking of off the court, so Billy King as the front office guy and Avery Johnson as your coach, if I'm a Nets fan, am I excited about the faces of the franchise?
Absolutely. I mean, you've got young, talented executives. I mean, Avery's record speaks for itself, all the great things he did in Dallas. Billy took the Philadelphia 76ers to the championship. Obviously a graduate of Duke. You know, they've got winning in their DNA, and they're going to bring that to the Nets franchise. We're working very closely with basketball. We all work for the same franchise. We're seamless. And we just can't get ready to, we just can't, you know, get started quick enough. I mean, we're really excited about the upcoming season.
What about the general idea about competition in the New York market? The two football teams, the Mets and the Yankees, the new stadium opening for soccer. It's 11 million people. How do you get support for the Nets?
Yeah, I think we're well positioned. Everyone needs to have their niche. You know, I kind of look at ourselves as the smaller, friendlier organization. I've tried to brand ourselves as the most accessible team in sports, certainly here in the New York metropolitan area. I think we've accomplished that. Our players are accessible. They do a ton of community outreach, probably more than any other team in the marketplace. And I think it gives them a chance to humanize themselves, but it also gives a good impression of the Nets. So I think we're very well positioned, and I think we truly can, you know, gain some momentum with the move to Brooklyn. I think it's tough for us to really reach our goals being a New Jersey-based team. But I think once we go to Brooklyn and we're on that big stage, and we go into the fourth largest city in the U.S. that's been underserved in sports and entertainment since 1957, we're going to have our moment.
In your illustrious marketing promotion career, what is the most fantastic, whimsical, successful promotion and marketing thing you've ever done?
I think holding on to the Barclays deal is probably my greatest accomplishment. You know, many of my colleagues say, Brett, it wasn't the first time you sold him, it was the third or fourth time. That's the most impressive. I mean, Barclays, I can't, you know, speak, you know, as much about them as I'd like to. I mean, these guys have stuck through us, through a downturn in the economy, through multiple delays in groundbreaking. And from day one, they never wavered. I mean, they said, we want to be a part of Brooklyn, we want to be a part of the Renaissance. And they had many choices to leave. They could have just left because it was delayed. They could have looked at other opportunities in the marketplace, and my colleagues did present them with options. But they chose to stick with us. And you know, the loyalty that Barclays showed us is something that you don't necessarily find in the business community. And you know, frankly speaking, if it wasn't for them, I'm not sure we'd be in the place we are today. We needed them to make that commitment in order to get our financing, in order for this project to truly survive.
What's it like having a twin brother working in the business?
It's terrific. You know, he's my best friend, he's a colleague, we throw ideas off each other. If he goes to see someone that he thinks I need to speak to, there's always that referral at the end of the day, and it goes both ways. When I go to Florida, I get to spend time with him and meet with you know, his staff and pick up a couple of things, and he does the same when he comes here into New York. So it's a wonderful thing, and you know, I certainly wouldn't change it for anything in the world.
Are you going to answer 1, 2, 3, or none of these? Is your brother a better athlete, better business person, businessman, and who's going to have the better team this year?
Well, I'll start from number 3. I think we're probably going to have a little better team. Michael's in the rebuilding mode. We are too. But I truly feel that we've made some inroads. So I think our team's going to be a little bit better. As far as businessman and athlete, I'll let you ask him the next time you see him. I'm very confident in my abilities, both on and off the court. I'm sure Michael would say the same thing. But at the end of the day, when we get together, as a matter of fact, I'm meeting him tomorrow in the Bahamas for a couple of days with our families. We'll probably play a little basketball, we'll talk business. Obviously, we're very, very competitive, and that's why we don't work in the same market. But at the end of the day, you know, it's not about who's better, it's about how we can help each other.